We now want to cross over to Kakamega County, where Achola Simon is on standby to give us an update. He's currently attending a workshop there, and he will be giving us an update on that particular story. Good afternoon, Achola. What is the latest?
Well, thank you very much, Nisi. We are coming to you live from Kakamega County, and of course we are keeping a keen eye on what is happening here at Masinde Muliro University. This is the venue of a symposium that is ongoing. This is part of the build-up activities by, of course, the national government and the county government of Kakamega in terms of preparing for the World International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction that is expected to go down this high-ranking government officials who are actually here, who are actually gracing the occasion, the symposium, and more importantly also, they will be here on Thursday when eventually the day will be going down. Now, Nisi, of course, there are very many questions that Kenyans have asked, especially in terms or in situations or in times when, of course, disaster has actually befell this country. And one of the major questions that I've continuously asked is the preparedness of our personnel in terms of handling disaster, and if indeed you have laws that actually regulate that particular situation in this country. Of course, to shed light on exactly how the situation is in the country, and of course in the wake of climate change in the country, is the Director of Disaster Management in the country, Colonel Owino, who will actually just shed light on exactly what is happening here in Kakamega and what we'll be doing going forward.
Thank you very much. We are gathered here at Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology to celebrate the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction 2022. But this IDDR day is normally held back-to-back with that day. So we normally hold a 2-day symposium, which is what we're doing now. We've started today. A symposium which comprises disaster risk management stakeholders who assemble here to discuss issues disaster risk management. We want to know where we've come from, where we're going, okay, what is happening right now and where we're going in terms of what challenges have we been facing in our various sectors. How have we been handling those challenges? Are there things that we could do better? Is there knowledge, experiences, technologies, innovations that we and what we do moving forward from here.
So, Corel, what Kenyans will be asking is that how are we prepared in terms of tackling disasters in this country?
We are prepared. Yes, we are well prepared. But even as I say that we are well prepared to handle the various disasters that normally affect us. And one of the biggest challenges which we are dealing with is the issue of putting in place a legal and institutional framework for disaster risk management. This simply means we want to have an overall coordinating institution that will be able to bring together all stakeholders of disaster risk management and then show them, guide them, in the way forward, so that we can be able to deal with the challenges that affect us in the country. So I don't know whether I can expound on exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, you can actually expound, and more importantly also the issue of legislation, because the bill that is supposed actually to be governing the situation is actually before Parliament, that is yet to be ascended to. Kindly just expound.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, we have 3 bills before Parliament. The first bill is the government-sponsored one, which is National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2021. That is a bill that we actually engineered ourselves. We wrote it, and it was sponsored by the leader of the majority, I think at that time, Honorable Kimonya. It passed through the National Assembly and was forwarded to the Senate. So we hope that the Senate very soon will be able to deal with it. The other bill that we have is Senate Bill number 14 of 2021, was sponsored by Honorable Johnson Sakaja and Honorable Mutula Kilonzo. They are both now governors, so they are no longer there. But that bill went through the Senate, and it was taken to the National Assembly, and it will be dealt with by the National Assembly of the 13th Parliament in due course. The last bill is National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2019, was sponsored by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, and it also went through the National Assembly, and it was taken to the Senate. Our intention is to ensure that the National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2021 goes through as the desired bill, and that the other two bills, Senate Bill number 10 of number 14 of 2021, and the National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2019, be stood down, okay? Because the government-sponsored bill is a negotiated bill. It has all the structures that you want, all the items that you want. We think that it will do the country good. So that is where we are. We're waiting for the 13th. The 13th Parliament has just been inaugurated. We'll be sitting audience with the clerk to the National Assembly to see how we can put this bill number 28, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2021, at the front, okay? Within, of course, the business of the National Assembly, so that it can be deliberated upon. And in the Senate, both those ones that are in the National Assembly and the Senate, so that they can be deliberated upon as fast as possible, so that we can arrive at least at one bill. It is a parliamentary thing. We cannot tell them to do this or to do that. They are the ones who will decide which of the three bills they want. But then what we want is actually the National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2021.
Fine. The other thing that of course this country has been accused of is having very good legislations. However, when it comes to implementation of those legislations, there's always a lethargy on them. One key issue that, of course, contributes to that is resources. We have created a disaster management fund. How far is it in terms of actualization and specific areas that is actually going to tackle?
Okay, that fund is actually a draft regulation. It's called PFM 2012, Public Finance Management 2012, Standing Disaster Management Fund Regulations. It is a bill that was initiated by the Treasury, of course, upon deliberation with the disaster risk management stakeholders, and it is meant to plug gaps in our financing framework. In that, yes, ministries are normally given funds, although albeit small amounts of funds, to deal with disaster risk reduction, and we also have the contingency fund at the National Treasury, which is, of course, the last resort. And of course, so with those two funds that we have, they are not sufficient to take care of rapid onset disasters and long onset disasters. We need money to deal with these issues. And that, so it was seen that, and also, of course, as well as disaster risk reduction. So it was seen that there's need to put in place a fund that can deal with the whole cycle of the disaster management cycle. We need funds for prevention, funds for mitigation, preparedness, response, and and recovery. Yes.
Fantastic. The last question probably for me would be in the wake of climate change. Of course, we are bound to see disasters, natural disasters. Is it time for actually the government to ensure they put down their foot to ensure that we are actually adequately prepared to tackle these disasters? Because they'll be coming.
Yes, it is time. We ensure that of course, that does not mean that the government has not been putting its foot down. It has, but then you see, we have a lot of challenges relating to how legislation is actually put in place. There's a long process which you cannot short circuit, and but we believe that the 13th Parliament will be able to deal with these issues of legislation conclusively. I don't know whether you have something to say about this.
The issue of disaster risk management is a multi-stakeholder approach and all partners. So it's not necessarily that, yes, the government provides leadership, but we have a number of